I'm assuming this is your man cave.
Yeah, well, it's my office, man cave, and just kind of getaway spot and everything. So I got stuff on the wall, stuff back here, my LT helmet up there, and my Scarface watching my back. So
There you go. There you
Tony Montana watching my back up there, and a nice little.
And that phone behind you, I have that exact phone right behind you.
This one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the old classic, Kids today wouldn't have any idea what to do with that dial.
No, they
But yeah, it took a little bit of time. I do the different beer videos, so it's funny when you watch them from the beginning to now, you can just see the progression of stuff going onto the wall. And
right.
now I'm to the point of where do I go to replace things off the wall? It's kind of like,
oh wow!
As I'm doing more of the beer things, I'm meeting more of the beer guys. I'm getting more stuff, and it's like, okay, now I got to start rotating the things out and trying to put stickers up and all kinds of other stuff. But it's pretty fun. I enjoy it, so I try to squeeze out everything I can and get it nice and angle with the camera. But it's kind of
you got a nice collection back there.
I got what?
You got a nice collection back there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got the shot glasses up there too and stuff. When I'm back in the whiskey days, so kind of tapered it down to a little bit of the beer. I used to have a big shot collection and big sports fan. So I got like an autograph. That's an LT helmet.
Oh no way!
Autograph Oscar Robertson Nike bag. Serena Williams tennis ball. D'Angelo Williams Carolina Panthers helmet. And then there's a book underneath my West Virginia thing where it's autographed from an Olympian from back in the 80s. And just different things. I started kind of keeping some stuff out there that I had and over time. So, everybody's got their collectibles.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a huge LT fan growing up. So,
yeah. Well, who wasn't an LT fan growing up?
Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann was an LT fan. Especially after the hit, but now.
Yeah.
But the Oscar Robertson bag was cool because he rarely ever gives autographs. But years back, we got a chance to golf in one of his charity tournaments, and he gave out autographed Nike bags, so that was pretty cool of him.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So having a couple of the greats up there, but
exactly.
So I'm actually down here in. I just say Cincinnati area. I'm actually in northern Kentucky side, so part of Ohio as well. And you're actually up in Toledo. So to bring everybody on board that are going to watch this or are watching this here now, Google Plus, YouTube, it'll be out on different other areas as well. I'm sitting here with Chris Harris, who actually started up the Black Frog Brewery out of Toledo, Ohio. And I don't know how many times you've been on Google Hangout before, so this is something maybe new, but we're using the technology as best we can to get it out. But you're up there in Toledo right now. Things are probably hopping, not just with your brewery, but with the game, right? So everybody's like,
oh yeah,
hoping to get that championship, and Sunday might be the day to get back to the promised land. So how stoked are you up there in that area right now about the Cavaliers?
Everybody is so stoked.
Yeah,
like, come on, Cleveland. I mean, they can do something nobody's ever done. They came back from 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they can take it in, Golden State, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Yeah, to think that Golden State actually came back 3-1 in their series, and now facing a team that may come 3-1 back when it really matters is just so. Right. And, I'm not a huge fan of Cavs or Golden State. I kind of just watch the NBA. I watch more of the college basketball than a lot of the pro. Growing up back in the day, I was a Showtime fan, so I was a big Lakers 80s. And then I was with Shaq, and when Shaq had the Shaq-Kobe split, I kind of split too. I rooted for Miami for a little bit. Shaq retired and never really got back into it. But it's just been one of a great series to see the turnaround taking place now. So it'd be great to see Cleveland finally get a championship up there. And the fact that Curry threw his mouthpiece last game, it's almost like he sees the writing on the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, that was classic. That was classic.
Wow. But Draymond didn't kick anybody or punch anybody, so that's
no. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if he did. He could have lost. He could have been out of that last game, and it would have probably pretty much clinched it for us. But we'll see.
Yeah, if him and Bogut were both out, yeah, that would pretty much do it then.
Yeah.
So I was looking on the website and checking out some of the stuff, and it talks about up there, like, what is the Black Swamp region? Because I heard about the Black Swamp region, and people call themselves the Frogs.
Right. Well, Toledo used to be like a swamp type area, and so they called it the Black Swamp. And so that's where Toledo, swamp, and then that's why Toledo was called Frog Town.
Okay.
So it kind of all ties together.
And then you kind of brought that name into what you're doing at the brewery. So, and talking about that, I mean, how did you get your start with the brewery? What made you want to go into that line? How did you really start coming up with that plan?
It all started with a little Mr. Beer kit.
Right, I got one of those. No, I started out. I actually did brewing for a while with Mr. Beer. I just haven't made it in a while, but yeah. But you're like another person I heard that started out that way. So that's good for people out there that might have Mr. Beer kit. People say, well, you ain't making real beer yet. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere. And so, I started with the Mr. Beer, and from that first batch that you make, I was amazed. I was like, wow, I really actually made beer. And from there on, I was hooked. I was just fascinated. I just wanted to know everything there was about the whole brewing process. So it just became a passion for me.
So when you started out with the Mr. Beer, because you're making 2.5 gallons a time or whatever.
Right.
And then you're going through and you're like, well, this isn't enough. I need to start scaling up or whatever it is. Or how did you make that jump? You just said, you know what? This is something I got to roll with a little bit more.
Right. What I did was, of course, I did a lot of research. When I got the Mr. Beer kit, I was on the forums a lot. And then, you kind of progress from that 2.5 gallons to that 5 gallon. You start getting 5-gallon buckets, and you start buying extract kits to see what type of beers you might like.
Okay.
And from there, I really didn't stay with extract kits that long, is because from all the reading you do from different websites, everybody's all grain. So I was like, wow, what is this all grain about? So of course I invested in some coolers for a mass ton of hot liquor tank, and then got a pot, and then it was just like cascaded from there. I just every Sunday I was brewing. I was driving my family crazy.
So you have bottles and everything all around the house,
bottles everywhere.
I was brewing, so
the house smelled like hot. It was a crazy time. I was happy when I moved to the garage.
Oh, I'm sure. It seems like the guys always end up at the garage at some point. So
exactly. He's like, yeah, you can take that and go out to the garage.
Well, I remember when you're going through and you're trying to find the right spot in the house where it's warm enough. Not too warm, but not too cold. You gotta get the right fermentation.
Exactly.
So you're like, no, there, and you come back like, wait, is it dropping? Is it dropping right now? I need to move this one over. So it's a fun thing, but it's good to hear. You kind of started from doing something along that way.
Right.
A lot of people, they see that stuff and they see just the all grain, and they don't realize they can take steps to go ahead and grow through it. And I've had guys that I actually know that I've tried to teach them how to make some beer at work. And I'll ask them how they doing this stuff. And I was like, did you get a hydrometer? Did you measure something? And they're like, did I what? It's like, okay, let's see what you're working with. I've had some that I couldn't even swallow because the carbonation was too high. And they were just like, what did you have? What was the temperature of the room you fermented? They're like, I don't know. I threw it in the closet. So, and I have had other ones that have done well. So it's all a matter. The thing is, you have to follow the process.
You do.
And you got to sanitize. You got to make sure everything's all sanitized. So you're always telling guys, that's like the thing that'll kill you if it's not sanitized.
Right.
But, Yeah, that's a good way to actually start out there. And so you got that up and going. And when did you start the brewery? When did you like kind of become established to start running out there?
We started the brewery. Well, officially, it was around October of 14. And I started the brewery a little bit different than probably most people started breweries. Everybody was doing kegs where, I knew I was starting out small and I wanted to get I wanted to dip my toes into the brewery game. So I said, okay, well, I'm just going to do bottles and then distribute them to different retailers. Like I don't know if you have like the Andersons down there in Cincinnati.
The Andersons, as far as a distributing company.
No, it's like a
like a grocery store. Oh no, we got mostly the Kroger market down here. Kroger, Remke, those are the two main ones. Then we got like Aldi that just started up a little bit around here. Of course, Walmart. They're everywhere. So
yeah, you can't go anywhere without a Walmart.
No.
So Anderson is like a local like grocery store. They have like 3 locations, and so they did a piece on me in the local newspaper.
Okay.
And I just love it. I love telling this story. So I walk into the Andersons and I'm speaking to the guy that's part of the head of the beer and wine department. And I'm like, hey, I'm Chris Harris. I'm from Black Frog Brewery, and would you be interested in putting my beer on shelves here? It's like, yeah, well, I seen you in the paper. And it was like, yeah, we'd love to put your stuff on shelves. You said, bring me some samples by, we'll try it. Everything works out. Sure. Once my beer was ready, took it in, everybody sampled it. They loved it. Like, hey, let's give me 10 cases. And I'm like,
like, a little spot on the shelf, not these shelf.
And you're like, wow, 10 cases? Yeah, I mean, it was just a good feeling.
Yeah. So
from there, it just like it just grew from that local Andersons. Then other local stores came on board, and it's just been really phenomenal. The reception that I receive here in the Toledo area. Usually when I take the beer to a local store, I usually post it online on Facebook or Twitter, and usually within weeks or a week, it's pretty much gone because I only can make so much, and so people know when I'm out there or when it's out there, you grab it now or you might not get it.
Okay. So you got the nice buzz behind you up there now.
I do.
That's awesome. So you actually were to take it from there, and then. As far as that, I mean, was it kind of like you just went from the house, then you had to go through whatever paperwork, business type stuff, and then you're able to actually sell to them, or were they able to just buy wholesale from you, or how was that like a painstaking process, or something you were able to just roll right through?
No, I still had to go through all the paperwork that every other brewery goes through, where I had to get my state license and federal license, and once I have because of course they can't purchase it from you unless you have your license.
Exactly.
Yes. So once I had my licenses, then it was just easy peasy. And of course I had very low overhead because my license is actually in my garage. So I've actually converted half my garage into the brewery. So I go out to the garage and brew beer every weekend.
How's the wife feel about that?
She doesn't mind. I gave up my half of the garage, so she can still park her car in the garage. My car sits outside though.
I bet. So I know I looked on the site and you got I saw 5 beers, but I think you have 6 now, possibly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Initially, we have the cream ale, the pale ale, a honey porter, the IPA, and a stout. But I'm also we're in the process of opening up a tap room, and the plan is once the tap room is open, we're going to do quarterly releases. So hopefully everything is done. I'm still waiting on them to transfer it. But once we open the, actually I just brewed it 2 weeks ago. Is a wheat ale that we're gonna have for the summer taste. And then this fall we're doing a sweet potato porter, and of course during Christmas doing a holiday ale.
Okay, all right. Well, your porter is oak aged, right? Or was it just a special one at a time?
It was a special one, yeah. Okay. I do have an oak aged porter that I do also, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. That was for the Glass City Beer Festival that we have up here. I did that special for.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and I think the one that Ron had on your show was another special one, a very limited release that I did for a beer and bacon festival we had up here also. It was a honey smoked porter.
Wow, that sounds pretty decent too. Honey smoked porter go nice with some bacon.
Exactly.
So right now you're kind of in that nano stage as you're building everything up. What do you think might help to make you kind of unique in what you're doing there? I mean, to help you stand out versus some of the other breweries and stuff.
I think I have a more traditional flavor profile for my beers. My beers are a lot more balanced than some beers. I guess my motto is when I make my beers, I brew what I love, and I brew what I would love to drink. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I have a good reception with my beer is because I'm only going to brew what I love to drink.
Okay.
And I think it shows in my beer the love that I have in it. So, and everybody, at least everybody up in the Toledo area, all my beers and this is just something that I picked up from when I was starting out brewing, and it was just something that I love. All my beers have a little bit of honey malt in them. I don't brew a beer that doesn't have any type of honey malt in it. I just love that malt profile that I get from that malt. So some beers might have a little bit, some beers may have a lot, but every beer is going to have some type of honey malt in it.
So kind of the honey malt actually helps you stand out a little bit then too. It's kind of a unique type feel. So honey malt, your favorite malt then probably.
It is my favorite malt, yes.
Do you have a favorite hop as well?
I have two. I love Cascade and I love Simcoe.
Okay. Yeah. What makes anything to make them stand out for you?
Well, as far as the Cascade goes, is I love that it's just the all-purpose hop. It's like you can use it as bittering. You can use it for aroma. I just love the all-purposeness of the hop. Now, as far as the Simcoe goes, I love that citrusy that I get from the Simcoe hop, and I use that one in my IPA, and it's just fantastic.
Okay. All right. Well, here's an interesting question. If your brewery could be an animal, which one would it be?
If the brewery could be an animal, which one would it be? Wow. Black Panther.
Kind of like a lion stalking, kind of like a panther prowling.
Black Panther.
You think it's
Black Panther.
Stalking his prey and just
stalking his prey, Black Panther. The elusive Black Panther.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Don't know when he's gonna strike, but he's gonna strike you.
Always eyes wide open and always looking, right?
Exactly.
So anything that's kind of been like hard for you thus far in like what you're doing with the brewery, and you got the stuff behind you as far as the wind at your back there. So wow.
I guess nothing is easy. I guess if everything came easy, everybody would do it. But nothing really sticks out to me that was like particularly hard. With me is especially when it came to starting the brewery, it was that I just did a ton of research, and I kind of followed in footsteps of people that kind of walked the same path that I did, to try not to make, mistake that they may have made. So nothing really stands out particularly that was extremely hard.
Okay. All right. I know sometimes some of the newer breweries, it's things like maybe the distribution or the filings and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that's going to be part of it anyway. But
oh yeah, that comes with the territory.
Yeah. Now, one thing I was going to ask you, and this kind of goes back. I know I love when I look at your site and everything, and how you're trying to incorporate our heritage into a lot of this stuff. There was a piece, I don't know if you saw or not, by Thrill List.
Yeah,
it came out a few months ago. You probably know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
About how there are no Black people brewing
right
in craft beer, and gets kind of your thoughts on it, because my thought on it was, and I responded back to them about it, is there are Black people brewing it. It's just we haven't told you everything, or we don't always show up at all the different spots. And it's kind of like, just because you don't see it don't mean we're not doing it.
Right.
And I kind of want to see what your kind of thoughts were or feedback on it.
Yes, I think there could be more minorities brewing than what there is. Like you said, there are some out there, but I don't believe they're getting promoted as like they should be.
Okay.
Or getting exposure like they should be. Wow. And I'm sitting here trying to think about the numbers I've seen, where I want to say there was close to 4,000 breweries out there right now. It may be a little bit more than 4,000. But the percentage of minority-owned breweries is probably less than 1% of that number.
Right.
So I mean, I think there could be more exposure for minority breweries out there.
Right.
But I agree with you guys. They're out there. It's just that we're not hearing about them, or they're not being exposed to, or we're not being exposed to them.
Right. I think part of, like, into what you were saying, is really the opportunities out there aren't always being presented as well. I take your story and what you're doing in Toledo. There's a young lady who has her brewery out of Harlem that just got the big deal with the Walmart contract.
Yeah.
There's a team down in, I want to say, in Alabama, where three brothers were doing some stuff. And there's different places around, and when you flip open some of the different magazines or pull up stuff on the internet, we're seeing people in head brewer positions and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, the ownership might not be out there yet, but the way I read that piece was like, don't think that we're not around, because we're around in different spots. Because he was saying not just brewers, but bloggers and all this other stuff. And it's like, I'm reading, like, well, I blog about it, I talk about it, and I know other people that do. So it's just, I almost felt like you just weren't invited to the party. That's all it was. I mean, we were out there. It's like, you just didn't see us out there. We were at a different spot. Right. So, but it's great to see a lot more of the success, and not just with us, as a group for, Black people being involved or things along those lines. Because now we're seeing also women are getting more involved. We're seeing other Latinos getting involved, other different groups too. So I think it makes it all better of a whole, but everybody's bringing different flavor to the table.
Right.
Right then, when you said sweet potato beer, that kind of right there caught my eye. Like, hey, nobody got that out there that I'm aware of. So definitely need to help you get some distribution going, so we can get it down here in Cincinnati. So
there you go.
I was talking about getting me some. I'm like, hey, that sweet potato pie come out. You need to shoot it right down, dog. Shoot it right down. So in going into that, like, about distribution, are there other plans right now? Because I saw, like, on the map where you have, the spots around Toledo. Are you in talks with other distribution groups to get it further out from where you're at? You're just trying to keep it manageable right now?
I'm just trying to keep it manageable right now. Our production is really, really small. Once the tap room open, we're only going to be doing about 2 barrels a week, which is really not a lot of beer. So majority of that is probably going to be sold in the tap room. I don't want to lose my bottle roots, so I'm still going to be doing some type of limited bottling, but not near as much as what I have been doing.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully my goal is by this time next year to have upgraded the system and of course increase production and maybe start moving out slowly but surely.
Okay. So we know about your favorite malt. We know about your favorite hop. Do you have a favorite beer yet that you've made?
That's funny. A lot of people ask this question. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about I only brew what I love.
Right. You can say the favorite one's the one in the hand at the time.
Exactly. I mean, I really couldn't. And you know, with beer, it's all, at least to me, it's all about moods. You know, sometimes you may be in mood for a stout, or you may be in mood for IPA, or so it all depends about my mood and how I'm feeling, or what I'm eating to determine what type of beer I'm drinking. I will say, if I could only drink one beer, and I'm not even saying my beer, but if I only could drink one beer, my favorite style would be probably pale ale.
Okay.
If I could only drink
regular pale ale, not India pale ale.
No, not India, just a regular pale ale.
Okay.
So I mean, to me, that's I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds. I mean, sometimes I might be in that hoppy mood and I want my IPA. But then, sometimes I might not want something just as hoppy, but I still want that bold flavor. So I guess that's why pale ale is kind of like my go-to style.
Okay. Are there any styles that you're not as much a fan of?
Sours.
I was going to ask you that a line of you. I'm thinking about any sours beers too. So sours are something that's not really struck as being a fan of yet. Okay.
No, I keep trying them, and I just cannot get myself into sours. I just can't.
Yeah. I think on the level it's kind of a acquired taste, just like some people can't get into IPA and some can't get into
some
of the bigger stouts. I mean, like barley wine. Some people can't get into barley wines at all, and I love barley wines.
Back,
smooth out, throwing some jazz or something.
Exactly. Now you're talking my language. There you go.
Now you give me a light beer, I'm like, what is that? Did I ask for water?
No.
So, in talking about the brewery, what do you want people to really know, like, about the brewery? Like, somebody's out there and they're, what can you tell? Like, hey, you need to come into this brewery because, or this is what's jumping off, and this is what's happening, or what do you want people to know? Like,
well, first we have fantastic beers, and you're not going to find a higher quality local better tasting beer. I guess I hate to use the word, my beers are just so well balanced. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Now you've got the tasting room there, looks like, right?
Working on it, yeah.
Okay, so you're working on it. Now, is that going to be in the other half of the garage? Or is that...
No. We actually have a retail location that we're doing renovations on right now.
Okay.
And so Actually, I'll be in there working tomorrow. So we're about 95% done.
Okay.
And we're just waiting on the TTB to transfer the license from the garage to the new location. And once they do that, then we'll be open for business.
Is there an estimated date you have you want to let people know about, or is it kind of still under wraps right now?
It's still pretty much under wraps. That's funny. Probably 2 months ago, I was telling everybody the 1st of July.
Yeah.
So now, if I had to guess right now, I'm probably looking at the 1st of August.
Yeah.
And I'm got my fingers crossed for that right now. So I'm hoping they get off their tail at the TV and do my paperwork.
You know, bureaucracy runs slow. So.
Exactly.
Well, you're on that government dime. You just don't move as fast sometimes.
Yeah, and that's funny because I work for the government. So it's like
yeah. Well, I saw like I've seen some of the photos where people were drinking there and everything too. And it's like, you know, the good thing is like there's a nice community presence there too. So it seems like people are there having a nice good time, and you know, you get all kinds of facets of the community, which is a great gathering place.
Right.
Especially in some of the stuff we see nowadays, you want to have a place where people can congregate, come together, you know, across different lines. And, you know, bar talk is where you get some of the more honest talk outside of maybe the barbershop. So
barbershop, there you go.
But you get in a bar and everything, it's a nice place where people can actually sit there, have a nice beer, converse, and you learn stuff about other people. So
exactly.
It's nice to see some of that stuff out there. But so the next goals are really getting that finished and then getting that opened up, and then off and booming from there as far as having that opened up.
Yeah. I think once it opens up, my life is going to get really, really interesting after it opens up. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure things will be a little crazy because, like you said, I know Ron said you told me you were also doing another job too. So you know you're doing this, and it's kind of like when I do a lot of the blogging or the writing about the beer and the interview and all kind of stuff. I'm doing that as the second job to my actual job too. So it's always you're always like banging around doing something. So I do stuff during the day, I come home and I do stuff at night. And I'm always like, you don't spend enough time. Well, I try to do what I can in between there, and you know. And as you probably know, where you get hit, that's probably the pocketbook. You got to probably go out and like, okay, let's go out to a nice dinner, you know.
Right.
The bill,
like, you feel my pain then.
Yeah, I can't believe he's charging me this, but that's what it costs for love, you know. But it sounds like you got some really good things happening there, and you know, hopefully we'll get a chance, like I said, to get some of the beers down here at some point and some of the distribution open up. And with you being up there in the north, maybe getting some stuff over to Michigan might be a good benefit. And you know, right now, of course, you got Ohio as of August. I don't know if it's the 1st or what the day was, but they're removing the ABV cap.
Exactly. That's gonna be great.
So when you were doing the Mr. Beer stuff, like I know when I first got the Mr. Beer kit, the rules, the instructions they gave you were kind of pretty much basic. And I like to cook. So so I looked at the stuff and I'm like, well, that's kind of basic. I need to put some flavor in this. And then the same thing, you just started like, okay, well, this is what they're supposed to do, but I'm going to add this, this, and this. And they tell you to make your first few batches by the directions and before you experiment. I'm like, don't nobody got time for that, right? So I get right in and I start mixing stuff up, and it works out great. You really got to experience a lot of stuff. I don't know what it's supposed to taste like, but I know the stuff I made tasted good.
Right. And that's the whole joy of brewing beer is experimenting. It's like, you know, you're not enjoying yourself unless you experiment.
Right. And like I told, like said some of the people I've taught how to do beer, it's kind of like you get out there, if you can boil water and you can do somewhat decent in the kitchen cooking, you can go out here and you follow the directions. As long as you're sanitized, you can make beer.
You can make
different things and stuff like that until you actually know how to really measure and compile stuff exactly each time.
Right.
There's some differences in the batches, but you go out there, you have fun to find out what you like along those lines. So,
and I'm glad you said it about the sanitation is probably the number one thing that people don't realize that you need to do to make sure your beer turns out good.
Right.
I've judged a couple of events, and you can tell by the beer that they bring in, it's like, your sanitation process was horrible. It was just.
You could tell because I've had like some where it's like the one guy, and I never really had to tell him because he had switched positions in the country. So I really got to never get back to him. I kind of like didn't try to find him out, but it's like I took the first swig and I couldn't even swallow because there was so much carbonation built up that it was like not fully cleaned all the way. So it was kind of like had a little bit of an infection. So it was just like. Right. And it was one of those Mr. Beer big bottles, big plastic ones. So it was just like out of drain. That's the only last time I put it up.
You kept the bottle?
Yeah. I'm going out. I'm giving people samples at work and some of those. I'm like, man, that's like a hand out government cheese here. So, so then I went back and got some of the some glass bottles, and then I learned how you can actually recycle the bottles. You take a bottle that you may have drank that may have, could have been Sam Adams or whoever it may be. Yep. Sit them in bleach for an hour, bleach water, labels peel right off. And then you sanitize them and you're up and going. I'm like, why am I paying for bottles? I've already bought bottles. And then, my wife was like, why is there so many bottles around here? So
I need them, baby. I need them.
But no, but it's been definitely good going over your brewery and hearing all the good stuff. When are your operating hours up there?
We're planning to be open on Fridays and Saturdays. Fridays from 4:30 to 11, and Saturdays from 3 to 11.
Okay, so that's what you're doing right now. Also with the tasting room. The tasting room's under construction, but as far as people just come to the garage and they can taste.
No. Okay. Actually, my license is restricted. I can't do any tastings or sell retail out of the garage.
Okay.
So I just all I do is distribute from the garage to retail locations.
Okay, and then people go buy them and go and taste them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's still cool, keeping you moving while everything else is being done. So
and you're gonna have to come up here when the tap room is open, man.
Oh yeah. I need to do something. My wife's she's on me about trying to go somewhere. So
there you go. Yeah.
I got some buddies up there in Toledo. I actually told them a couple of things that we were doing here about the new brewery opening up, and some guys up in Cleveland I haven't seen in a while too. So it wouldn't be too bad of a road trip going up there. So.
And you can do kind of like a pub crawl. You can go from Toledo to Cleveland and hit all the breweries.
Well, that's the funny thing is like every time we go somewhere, the first thing I'm Googling is where the beer places are. So she'll bring up a place to eat for dinner. I'm like, not a good beer selection.
Exactly. No.
Well, one of the things that I've been sharing with some of the people too. Are you on like beer menus out there? Or are you on any of the apps yet? Because those are great apps, so you let people know what you have. And
no, I'm only on Untappd and Beer Advocate.
Okay.
But no, I haven't. What you said is called Beer Menu.
Yeah, as a brewer, like beermenus.com. If you check them out, you can actually, when you go to retail and any places you have that are retailing your beers, I would suggest for them to get on the app, because then the way people shop now, they'll look onto an app to see what may be getting sold somewhere.
Right.
Please make them get up here on the phone so you can see it. If you're on the iPhone, they actually have an app. If you're on Droid, sorry, they do not.
I have an iPhone.
You have to go to the website. So you can actually go in and choose a beer. Let's see if I can find yours here.
And it's called Beer Menu, right?
Beer Menu. Beer Menus, I'm sorry. And what's the name of one of your beers? It's the
I'm trying to think. Froglicious.
Froglicious. All right. See if I can find it.
Yeah, I'm downloading the app right now.
Now, it may not come up because it may not have been added, so any of those places aren't on there yet. So it looks like that one's not on there. But let me grab just another one here. I'm going to grab this Fat Tire, for instance. So you can put, if you can see on the phone, if it zooms in there, maybe the light.
Yeah, the light is killing it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I hold it back. Technology. If you put the beer in, it'll actually tell you the beer, the rating, all that stuff, ABV, but it'll tell you places where you can follow that beer that are selling that beer. So it'll say like 705 places with that beer when I list that tire. And then it'll show me the places from the closest to me out. So I can see where I can get it from like 6 miles from here. I can keep scrolling down and it'll tell me like 76 miles from here or 80 miles from here. So it'll actually, you just follow any beers you want to track. But you can also do it with places too. And so it's a great way to keep your stuff marketed out in front. So if someone says, I'm looking to get, Amphibian or one of the other beers, they go right to this app and they can see what's being sold at this store right here. So it's a great marketing tool to share with the people that are retailing your stuff. Doesn't cost anything, I think, to add it as a company or so.
Okay.
But a good thing about Untappd as well, they just actually kind of got into Beer Menu's backyard, because now as a brewery, you could actually list your places on there and what you're actually dishing up to.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of a good thing they just started as well. But one of the things I always do, and not just the blogging and stuff, is also a lot of the social media type things along those lines. So I'm always looking at the different apps. Like I'm on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer, but the thing I find is they've almost made it too incumbent for a lot of the stuff you want to do on there. So that's why the more of the stuff on Untappd, but it's good for some of the research on things. Yeah. There's so many different apps that are coming out with things now. There's one called Tap Hunter.
I've seen that one. Yeah.
If you have stuff on kegs out there, you'll be able to have it listed that way. So it's just, it's just another marketing tool, but it's something you could bring to them as a value add. When you bring your next shipment in and say, hey, have you guys checked out Beer Menus?
Right.
If you haven't, you can let them know and then say, get them to market stuff and draw people to their store. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, so that's a good thing you can probably share as well. And once you're up and going, you'll be able to list your place and be able to advertise what beers you actually have. Right. Hey, we're changing this tap out for this tap right now, So that's a pretty cool little thing. But
it is.
Yeah, but anytime you have stuff going on, always feel free to let me know, because I put a lot of stuff. I have not just the YouTube channel where I share a lot of this good information, but I also have a blog where I put a lot of detail, which once you get back with me, we'll put your story out there. Okay. And then, of course, the Twitter feed, which you're following now, Google+, Instagram. I mean, I'm all over the place. If you put in Rajay BeerVentures, you're going to see a ton of stuff that comes up. And, that's what I try to do, is what the value that I'm bringing to it. I mean, like I said, I was brewing beer, and then I stopped brewing beer because I got involved in a lot of this aspect of the work. And I actually, down here in Kentucky, we have a couple of different places that we get like some of the beer wholesale stuff. And so it ended up being more economical in some of that. And I can say, well, I can just get any beer I want to get there, but I want to write more about what's going on. My background is actually journalism and advertising. So I enjoy to get out there, right? Like you said, doing something you really like. I like getting out there telling the stories about the different breweries and what's happening and kind of expressing stuff about the beer. So, anytime I can help you out, just let me know along those lines, things that are happening and when that grand opening takes place and stuff. But yeah, definitely a great story and great to hear about your success up there.
So definitely. This is pretty much natural for you then, since you had a journalism background.
I don't know if anything's natural, man. Every day something else surprises me in this world now.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but I enjoy it. Like we were talking earlier, and in college, that was my degree, but I also did, I was a radio DJ and then a party type DJ for a while. So getting out, talking with people was something I do. My whole background as an adult has really been sales. So I've sold, and I'm in the financial industry and insurance industry. So I sold, but now I actually am a quality analyst. So I actually listen to people that are selling and kind of position them to make sure they're providing the right information. But talking to people has never been anything I've kind of shied away from. So we do this kind of stuff. One of the other things is I've done like art representation for events. So we had a brewery down here, and we've actually put on art shows. We brought in artists and have them do art shows at the brewery. That's kind of the other stuff.
Oh, wow.
And for the artists, they love it because they can come in there and be able to sell their works. Our thing was just getting people into the event, and then we set up our own agreements or arrangements how we were doing stuff. But it was a great opportunity to get exposure. So we were helping them that. So we're kind of growing that out here too with some of the different beer venues. So I think there's just so much stuff you can possibly do that life's too short to not be involved in stuff. Because I'm involved in probably too much, but I'm having fun doing it. So
that's all that matters, is having fun doing
it. And being able to sit here and talk with like people like you and all the other different people and find out more of that aspect and, you know, sharing some good things. And we have a beer festival coming up here in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be a can beer festival. Cincinnati holds a can beer festival once a year.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have like 150 or so canned beers down here. And in the winter, we have another beer festival, which is in February. Then we do it again in September. This coming week is Cincinnati Beer Week. So they have a bunch of beer stuff flying around here. So it's a matter of getting out, seeing different things, talking to different people. But it's a blast. I mean, we're in an area down here. And if you ever happen to come down, it's actually a good area where you could probably get some nice recon in and see what people are doing. We have at least probably 27 breweries that are open right now.
Oh, wow.
And we have like 2 or 3 more about to open. And that's just in the Cincinnati area. When you include Dayton, we pick up a few more. When you include Lexington and Louisville going down, we pick up even more. And then going out into Southwest Indiana, we get even more out that way. So we have a ton of opportunity out here. A lot of the different guys from other breweries will come down. Like Jackie O's is up in Athens. They come down here a lot and talk with Ryan Geist and Mad Tree and some of the other brewers we have down here. So it's just been like a great beer. And now we're no Mecca like Portland, but we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff that's definitely going on. So if you're ever looking to get down here too, let me know. And
oh yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
I talked to Ron. He's talking about trying to get down here, I think in September. So we're going to probably get together and grab a couple pints and check out some places too. So, but yeah, it's you couldn't even get around on the weekend, all the different breweries down here now. That's how great it's growing. Yeah. So it's good stuff for sure. But I got that sweet potato in my mind. I'm just like thinking, like, no one's got that out there. I don't know if you should have broke that out there, because right now everybody's going like to the sours, and they're going like pineapple's the big thing, and peach.
Yeah.
And now you got like the sweet potato. You're like, hey, somebody's making sweet potato, you know?
Like you said, that's my culture. I mean, you know, I guess I do cultural things to me. So it's like, you know.
Well, we get the pumpkin beers, why not the sweet potato beers?
Exactly.
So it makes good sense. So that would be definitely unique. But I definitely appreciate you coming in and talking and bringing out this knowledge about the brewery. Anything else you want to add before we close up or anything?
No, I just want to thank you, man, for the opportunity to be on your show. It was great. I never did the Google Hangout, so I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Google Hangout, I was like, how is this gonna work? But no, everything was great. I really, really appreciate it. You having me and taking the time. I love talking beer, so I probably could sit here and talk all night talking about beer.
Well, I don't want either of our wives to be chasing us down. But yeah, I'm the same way, you know. And anytime you want to join, like I said, on Thursday nights, depending on what your schedule is, 8 o'clock, I'm Eastern, you're Eastern. We do a Google Hangout. It's called Craft Beers Going Wild. And each week we have different themes that are taking place. Okay. So if you have a beer you want to share from one of your beers, or even if it's a different beer, it's always fine. Next week we're actually doing, the show is going to be called The Beers of Summer. So we're looking at beers that might be a good summer treat to actually have. Okay. So if you got a beer there you want to share, you know, I'll send you an invite when that gets all ready to rock and roll. Come on in and talk about beer. We usually get like 1 or 2, but I've got a couple people on from across the country now. We play from San Francisco, North Dakota. Ron's up there in Ohio. One of the guys out of Chicago who partners with me on that, his name is Crunch. He'd actually be a good guy for you to talk with too, because he actually is a sommelier, but he's also the distributor for Costco for like 755.
Oh, wow.
He's like the consultant for their wine selection. He knows a lot of different distribution channels, and I know he'd love to talk with you because he might be able to help you out.
Okay.
Too. Yeah, so we got a lot of good things. Like I said, everything right now is run right. It's like a snowball. So I started doing all this stuff back last March in 2015, and my wife was the one that kind of directed me into it because she's a big YouTube fan. And like, I'm thinking, who wants to go on and talk about beer? Nobody wants to see anybody drink a beer, because if you don't have a beer, you're not gonna be happy about it.
Right.
And she's like, no. All these people are doing stuff. She showed me stuff, so I started doing that now, and then I do it more and more. And now it's like I started creating like a following there, and then I also have the blog picking up, and I have other stuff picking up. I said, well, maybe there is something out there, and apparently I'm saying stuff that people are listening to. So, so to have you come on something like this adds a little bit more credibility, which I'm appreciative of. But these are the good things I want to share with people out there, so they know, so they're aware, and give people opportunity to tell their story too. So, definitely appreciate it.
No, it's always great doing something that you love.
Yeah.
I'm glad I feel like making beer is my calling. I'm glad I got a chance to do it, or I'm glad I am doing it. So it's great.
Yeah. Well, you ever see that meme with guys who've been Saturday Night Live's on Tonight Show now? Jimmy Fallon. He's got a little. You ever see Jimmy Fallon show? And he's like writing the notes. And there's a scene where he does like thank you notes or whatever, and he like one of the memes is, thank you for making craft beer seem like a hobby, and cover my alcoholism or something. He says, well, it's really funny how he puts it out there. So once in a while, I'll post that on my Facebook page too.
Oh wow!
I'm a huge yeah.
I'm with that one.
But I'm a huge craft beer fan. I mean, I used to also bartend back in college, but I used to be more into the kind of making the drinks and stuff. But probably about, was this 2016? I would say probably it was about like 7 or 8 years ago. I got back into craft beer and just all the stuff that was happening and find out the different things taking place, and then started just tracking it and knowing some of the stuff from back when I used to bartend a little bit. But back then, when I bartended, it was like the 90s, so it was kind of like you have 5 beers. It was like the old TV channels, you had 3 stations, right?
Exactly. Yeah. There was no variety at all back then.
You try to get a Mickey's Big Mouth, and you were kind of whoa, you're getting crazy here, man. you got Miller, you got Bunny, you got Coors, leave it alone. So, but it became a kind of a quick study about it, and kind of taking more and more in, and finding out I love the knowledge about it. And when you find like the history about the beer and stuff like that and everything, when you're realizing beer's been around longer than a lot of stuff, it just goes back, and it's an interesting thing. It's a great beverage, and it's just something I kind of wrapped around. And like I said, my wife was like, so much about this stuff, you should start doing stuff with it. I'm like, well, okay, I'll see what I can do. And it's been fun. It's definitely been a fun ride. But you get like things like updates, stuff like that, let me know. A couple of the breweries have me on their press list, so I can put updates out for press releases, and anything I can do to help you get it marketed out there. Like I said, I got a couple of buddies up there in Toledo area, and I'll let them know. And they're beer drinkers, so if I get them to swing by your place too. I was talking to one of them earlier today, to let him know he's right there in Toledo.
Is that the one that was on Twitter?
Huh?
Is that the one that was on Twitter?
No, this was actually I put those out there, but this was a buddy on Facebook that I have too.
Okay.
So he actually lives right up there, and he's always like looking for good beers. He drinks a lot of the ones out of Michigan. He's a big Great Lakes drinker and stuff. But
I can
get him somebody in the hometown. He loves supporting hometown businesses, so he would definitely be one that probably pop over. And one of the other guys on YouTube I told about getting on here, and I wanted him to try to catch up with you some of his beers. He's Dr. Dave. And if you ever look at his YouTube channel, he's out there in Northern Ohio. I don't know if he's in Toledo or Akron. He's close right up there in that area. But he does a lot of beer reviews, and he has a pretty good following. So if he can get on some of your beers too, I think that'll help blow you up a little bit more. So, but yeah, so you're on the right move, man. It's good to see. Good to see some success.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I know it says family business, but it seems like you're probably doing most of it, right? Nothing wrong with that. No, I'm sure you get all the support you need. I'm sure you get all support and everything. So, but much success to you. And like I said, always feel free to reach out, and appreciate you swinging by to do a show about your brewery.
I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough.
But thank you, and we'll definitely catch up some more going forward.
All
right. So we'll go ahead and wrap this up. And to all the viewers out there, thanks again for swinging by as we talked here with Black Frog Brewery and also with Chris Harris. If you have any questions or anything like that, make sure you put some comments in the comment section. We'd love to get them answered for you. And of course, always like, subscribe, and if possible, share so we can get the word out and keep some things going. With that, I'm going to go ahead and say cheers, and I look forward to catching you guys next time.